In this tutorial, I'm going to talk about the theory and implementation of finding the convex hull for a set of points. First of all, I explain the algorithm for finding the convex hull for a set of points. After understanding it, we implement the algorithm using Python programming language. Graham's scan is an algorithm designed to determine the convex hull that encloses a set of points on a plane, aiming to maximize the enclosed area while minimizing the perimeter. Here you see an example of a convex hull. Graham's scan starts by finding the point with the lowest y-coordinate. If there are multiple points on the y-coordinate, the point with the smallest x value is chosen. The points are sorted by polar angles in counterclockwise rotation. Graham's scan utilizes the stack. Points are pushed onto the stack. If the point is not part of the convex hull, the point is popped from the stack. Let's look at an example. Here we have a set of points. It's clear which point has the lowest y-coordinate value. From there, points are ordered in increasing angle. Now we can follow Graham's scan to find out which points create the convex hull. Point 0 is pushed onto the stack. Point 1 is pushed onto the stack immediately after. The next point to be added to the stack is 2. A line is made from point 1 to point 2. Whenever a left turn is made, the point is presumed to be part of the convex hull. We can clearly see a left turn being made to reach 2 from point 1. To get to point 3, another left turn is made. Currently, point 3 is part of the convex hull. A line segment is drawn from point 2 to 3 and 3 is pushed onto the stack. We make a right turn going to point 4. We'll draw the line to point 4 but will not push it onto the stack. Whenever a right turn is made, Graham's scan algorithm pops the previous value from the stack and compares the new value with the top of the stack again. In this case, we'll pop 3 from the top of the stack and we'll see if going from point 2 to point 4 creates a left bend. In this case it does, so we'll draw a line segment from 2 to 4 and push 4 onto the stack. Since going from 4 to 5 creates a left turn, we'll push 5 onto the stack. Point 5 is currently part of the convex hull. Moving from point 5 to 6 creates a left-hand turn, so we'll push 6 onto the stack. Point 6 is currently part of the convex hull. To get to point 7, we must make a right-hand turn at 6. Point 6 is popped from the stack and the turn is examined from point 5 to point 7. Since we make a left-hand turn from point 5 to point 7, we push point 7 onto the stack. We attempt to push point 8 onto the stack. To get to point 8, we make a left at point 7, therefore point 8 is added to the stack. Point 8 is currently part of the convex hull. Going to point 9 requires a right-hand turn at point 8. Since there is a right-hand turn, point 8 is popped from the stack and point 9 is compared with point 7. To get to point 9 from point 7 requires another right turn, so we pop point 7 from the stack too and compare point 9 to point 5. We make a left-hand turn at point 5 to get to point 9, so 9 is pushed onto the stack. Next, we make a left turn to get to point 10. Point 10 is currently part of the convex hull. A right turn is required to get to point 11 from point 10. Since a right turn is taken at point 10 is popped from the stack and the path to point 10 from point 9 is examined. Since a left turn is made at point 9 to get to point 11 is pushed onto the stack. A left turn is made at point 11 to get to point 12. Point 12 is therefore pushed onto the stack and is currently considered part of the convex hull. A right turn is required to go to point 13 from point 12. Point 12 is popped from the stack and the path to point 13 from point 11 is examined. Since a left turn is made at point 11, point 13 is pushed onto the stack. A left turn is made at point 13 to get to point 14, so point 14 is pushed onto the stack. A right turn is required to go from point 14 to point 15. Since a right turn was made at point 14 is popped from the stack. The path to point 15 from point 13 is examined next. A left turn is made at point 13 to get to point 15, so point 15 is pushed onto the stack. Going from point 15 to the starting point 0 requires a left turn. Since the initial point was the point that we needed to reach to complete the convex hull, the algorithm ends. The points that are needed to create the convex hull are 0, 1, 2, 4, 5, 9, 11, 13, and 15. Now we get to the implementation part of the algorithm. To convert the algorithm to an actual code, we need 2 packages. First of all, we import the matplotlib.pyplot as PLT, then import the numpy as MP, And after that, I will define a couple of functions. But before that, I'll define the entry point of my program. That is, if double underscore name is equal to double underscore main, and then I'll call the function test inside the entry of my program. The function test is the function that I'll write the actual code of my program. Over here inside the test function, I'll define the set of points that I want to find the convex hull for. Here I have taken the top to bottom approach for implementing the algorithm. So I have called an undefined function convex hull and passed the points to it, which returns the hull and the bottommost point in the set of points. Display points and hull is another function that I'll define later for displaying the points and the convex hull, which encompasses the set of points. Now I'll just code the function signatures. The first one is the convex underline hull function, which will pass a set of points, and the other one is display points and hull function, which will pass points, bottommost point, the hull, and the file name for the plot of the points and the convex hull. After documenting the function arguments, now it's time to actually write the code for the convex hull function. In the computational geometry algorithms, you have to apply some naive precision handling at least to have robustness in your algorithms. This is specifically good for distinction between two different points in a close location to each other. So I passed a set of points to the np_round function to get up to 4 decimal points for precision. Then I use the np.lex_sort to sort the points with respect to y, then to x coordinates. np.lex_sort returns the indices for the sorted array. Then I get the bottommost point of the set of points that I have passed to the convex hull. And after that, I'll sort points by the angle they make with the bottommost point. That is the angle that the horizontal axis makes with the line starting from the bottommost point to that specific point. I calculated the relative vectors and the distances, which are the hypotenuse of the triangles formed. In one part of code, I have actually safeguarded against the division by 0. And since the cosine function is a decreasing function from 0 to pi, I've multiplied the cosine of the angles by -1, so when I sort the values, I get the right order. Then I add the bottommost point and the point next to the bottommost point to the hull list. Then I iterate through the ordered points and pop and push them to the stack using the cross product function to find out whether the turn I'm making is counterclockwise or clockwise. Note that we only need the sign of the value of the cross product function. And finally, I'll display the hull and the points and save them to a PDF file using the display points and hull function that I'm going to define. By the way, do not forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel to not lose future content on other cool algorithms that I'm going to explain step by step. Now we are going to define the cross product function. This function takes 3 points. 2 points are from the stack, that is the hull, and the third point is the point that we are going to decide whether it belongs to the convex hull or not. And finally, we are going to define the display points and hull, and this function takes points, bottommost point, and the hull, and the file name for our plot. Now that I have defined all the functions, I call the test function in the entry of the program and wait for the results. As you can see, the plot is showing the steps for defining the convex hull or finding the convex hull. And you see the lines the bottommost point makes with the other points and the angles formed with the horizontal axis. And the last plot shows the complete convex hull, and all of the plots are saved actually to the hard drive by the name that we have already specified in our function definition. As you can see, the saved files are over here. For example, this is the first plot that we've got, and the complete plot of the convex hull is also saved over here. Now I define another function calling it another test, and in this function I generate a random set of points and assign it to the points variable, and after that I'll call the convex hull function and pass those points to it and display the points and the hull. And finally save the plots with the random underline hull.python.pdf as the file name. Now I comment the test function in the entry point of the program and call the another test function. Finally, I run the code and wait for the result. As you can see, the plots are generated and you see the first line of the convex hull, and other lines are to be specified, and in the next upcoming plots you'll see the evolution of actually finding the true convex hull of the set of points. Also note that the code that I've provided over here is not by any means optimized, it's just for educational and demonstration purposes. For writing a more efficient code, you can use other languages like C++ or something modern and more scientifically oriented like Julia programming language. It happens that I've got a complete set of beginners tutorials for Julia programming language that you can check out and learn how to write more efficient scientific code. You can also uncomment the line of the mp.random.seed that I've actually fixed and run the code again to get some other random set of points and find the convex hull for them. This way you can check out whether the algorithm goes wrong for a weird set of points or not, and be sure that your implementation is working correctly and nothing is going wrong. You can use these set of randomly generated points to actually write unit tests for your code. If you have any thoughts and if there is anything that you want to suggest me, leave your comments or your opinions down below the video. I will check them out. As always, see you all later.